Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Tamim. I have the pleasure of introducing to you Dr. Syed Ahmed, who did his MD medicine from PGI Chandigarh. He's joined DM gastroenterology in the recently conducted AIMS exam. So let's listen to him. Dr. Syed, please introduce yourself and your ranks and what exams you have given.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to speak to you, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am Dr. Syed Ahmed. I did my undergraduation from Bangalore Medical College and Research Institute, and I in from 2010 to 2016, and then I did my MD from 17 to 19 in Postgraduate Institute of Medical Education Research, that is PGI Chandigarh. Then I worked for a period of 6 months in Bangalore, and then I started preparing for my DM, and I got selected in November 2020 session. So I'll be joining from 21 January session.
So you secured second rank in the AIMS exam.
Yes, sir. I got my rank 2 in AIMS, and then I gave my JIPMER as well. So in JIPMER I got rank 2.
Okay, great. So Syed, a lot of people who are aspiring, who are doing MD all across the country, have this desire, particularly to get into Delhi AIMS for gastroenterology, which is one of the most sought after, departments. So your input in this, I'm sure, will benefit many. So when do you think is the right time to start preparing for DM entrance for gastroenterology?
Sir, I would tell that you have to work in all the specialties. So you have to get exposed to all the specialties, and then the interest will develop from within. If you start feeling you're inclined to a particular subject, that is when you have to decide that you have to do a specialty program in that particular subject. So during your MD days, when you're working, when you are getting exposed to all types of cases in your medicine department or in your specialty department, so over the period of time, maybe in second year or final year of your MD program, that is the time I think one has to decide what to do and what to perceive in future. So I would suggest that let it be very passive. Don't go to a specialty with a preconceived mind, because the interest has to come gradually, and it will come. You will realize that you are good at something and you are starting to like something. So during your MD program, maybe the second half of your MD program is when you start developing that inclination, and you have to decide on your in your specialty
Subject of specialty choice,
yeah.
right? So in this sense, how was your experience in PGI, the medicine department over there? What is your input about it?
So I must confess that it's one of the best department to to practice, to learn medicine, and then I would rate it as it's the best department of medicine in entire country. So PGI program structure is slightly different from other institutes, wherein the basic difference is there is no discrepancy between a parent unit, that is parent medicine unit, and a specialty. Every department we are exposed for the equal duration of time. Even in parent unit, which the amount of time we spend in a parent unit is same as the amount of time we spend in the specialty. So we get rotated in all the specialties. So we get rotated in hemat, rheumat, endo, gastro, hepatology is separate there. So we get neuro, pulmo, cardio, and and our emergency exposure, our critical care and acute medicine exposure is extremely good there. We don't have MD medicine candidates there, so medicine JRs are responsible for EMOPD, and EMOPD is it's flooded with patients, and you get all types of acute medicine cases in PGI emergency. So you get, overall you become one of the, it's a very good place to train yourself in the field of medicine, and you get exposed to all types of medicine, all types of cases.
Right. So I think I totally agree with you that medicine in PGI is the best. Although I think the first year postgraduates, the junior residents may not be of the same opinion because of the excessive work experience. But I think once they pass out, they fall in love with the place. And this is my experience in so many years, that generally who has passed out of PGI medicine, they remember it very fondly, and they think that they owe a lot of their career to the learning over there. I think it's great that you've done MD from a institute like PGI. Now, for preparation for DM Gastro, what books are needed, and how was your preparation?
So after I decided to go for gastroenterology, The basic books, the standard books are Schlesinger and Fortran 11th edition, which is the recent one which has come 3-4 months back. That is the standard book which everyone recommends. Even the faculty recommends the same book, and it is a pretty standard book. Even in US, Schlesinger is the standard book which is followed by GI fellows in US. So even in India, the majority of the questions are from that book. So that is the book which you have to read for your specialty entrance program.
Right. So those who are preparing for DM Gastro, apart from what Schlesinger is giving, what other things are important? So do questions come from anatomy, embryo, stats, like how is it?
Yes, sir. The basic difference between an MD and a DM entrance preparation is, MD you are required to know all the 19 subjects, but in DM it's one specialty which you have to know in depth, right from embryology, anatomy, physiology, molecular physiology, and then from clinical features, management, and therapeutics, and also the recent advances in therapeutics. So it does cover whole spectrum of that specialty. So the questions might range from as basic as embryology of pancreas to recent advances in pancreatitis. So it's such a spectrum. So it's one subject, but you have to know in detail. Apart from this, questions are asked which are necessary for your research. So especially AIIMS is very particular. The questions pertaining to research methodology is stressed upon. Hence, biostatistics questions appear in significant number in AIIMS paper.
So how do you go about preparing for biostatistics?
So for biostatistics, my MD preparation was good enough. MD preparation questions what we are covering during our MD preparation, basic biostatistics. So that is enough. And for numericals, some USMLE books will also help. And basically in biostatistics, they are more concerned about the concept. So you must be knowing what is sensitivity, what is specificity, what is risk ratio, what is odds ratio, what is relative risk, what is correlation, what is regression. So they focus more on the concept, and also few numericals based questions are also asked from the sensitivity chapter. From the screening chapter.
Okay, right. So when it comes to questions, how many questions were there in the AIIMS exam?
Sir, AIIMS asks 80 questions, and the examination is for 100 marks. 20 marks is for practical assessment. That is after you finished your theory. Theory questions are 80. And AIIMS focuses only on specialty questions. There are very little medicine questions, maybe 2 or 3. But PGI and JIPMER have significant number of medicine questions as well. But AIIMS specifically asks only questions pertaining to the specialty. So it's 80 questions plus 20 marks for practicals if you clear the first step one.
Okay, and how was your score in the AIIMS theory?
So I got 55.67 out of 80, and 20 marks were there for practical.
Yeah, so I think theory, where did you stand?
Theory,
you got the highest.
Yes, sir.
Right, great. How was your experience about particularly the AIIMS? See, one of the fears that students have is that they feel that they need to read a lot of articles from journals. Do you think that's really a valid fear? Do you think Schlesinger is enough?
So for basic knowledge, Schlesinger is definitely enough, and that is enough if you have to score a single digit rank. There's no doubt in that. But few things with regards to updates is you have to rely upon few standard society guidelines. Like for example, European Association of Study of Liver and American Association of Study of Liver Diseases, ASLD and EASL guidelines for hepatology is necessary when you're preparing for hepatology questions. And apart from that, you don't have to do a lot of reading, but if you are aware of certain practice changing updates, if you are aware of that, maybe 1 or 2 questions might appear in AIIMS which are very recent, and but that is like you can't be aware of everything.
Sure.
So don't stress on that too much. Basic Schlesinger and standard society guidelines is enough.
To reiterate once again, I think what he's trying to tell is that fear of reading so many articles and journals really not really. If you read in your leisure time, that's well and good, but then you don't have to really worry about it. If you read the recent updates and if you read Schlesinger properly, I think you should be able to handle the questions. Right?
So that's more than enough.
Right. So much of the questions in AIMS are patient management based. So how relevant is it to work in a department where you are managing gastro cases when you are going for the AIMS exam?
Yes, especially AIMS has a trend of asking a lot of clinical scenario based questions. So if your MD exposure is good, that will definitely help you for answering those questions. I would suggest that if you have developed an interest towards a particular specialty, I would suggest to spend some extra time, go to the unit in your institute and spend some extra time, see the profile of patients, see what are the management protocols they are following, what is the type of approach to a particular patient is there. So that will definitely help. And to take this advantage, I also worked in a gastro department after my MD for a period of 6 months in a private hospital here in Bangalore. So maybe that experience also it kind of orients you to to the approach of patient, that if that patient comes with a certain profile of symptoms or certain profile of laboratory investigations, the thinking pattern, the orientation of the thinking pattern might help you, if not in choosing the correct answer, definitely in eliminating the options it will help you.
Great. So this is again to emphasize that just reading theory in a library may not be able to help you get into an institute like AIMS because AIMS is patient oriented questions, clinical scenarios, protocol based, next step in management. If this treatment fails, then what do you do? So in that kind of sense, I think it's very important that you focus when you are doing your MD and you pay attention to the cases that you are handling. And not only that, if you can work also after your MD in a few months in a department which you are really interested in the subject of that specialty, I think that will make a big difference. So after your theory, how much is the gap to give the practicals, and how do you prepare it for practicals?
So I think for practical, the ratio for interview is 1:3 or 1:4. So if there are 3 seats, 12 candidates are called. If there are 5 seats, 20 or 15 candidates, depends. It's either 1:3 or 1:4. So it will go on for about 20 to 25 minutes. Usually the system was face to face, typical MD bedside presentation type practical assessment. But now because of COVID situation, we were asked not to travel to Delhi, so it was on a virtual meeting. So it was a case based scenario. The chief complaints appeared, and then we were asked to, and there was discussion on the symptoms and how you will be approached. Then the discussion on laboratory investigation of that particular patient. Then the discussion on imaging, and then the discussion on diagnostics and on the diagnosis and the therapeutic part. And after that, there were a few spotters. So that's how it went. It lasted for about 20 minutes. And for this, if you have presented enough number of cases during your MD days, the similar approach will help. There is no extra thing which you have to do. Your theory knowledge of your preparation for a theory paper, that will be more than enough. There's nothing much to do for practical assessment.
Right. So one case presentation, one diagnostics imaging will be given.
Yes.
One lab report or multiple lab reports?
It's same. It goes like
same case only.
Yeah, same case only. Okay. They present with it just like in the same format what we present during our bedside.
Okay.
It's chief complaints, HOPI, then some discussion on
approach,
differentials approach, and then the investigation part, what's your interpretation of your investigation reports, and then some discussion on diagnosis, why this, why not this. Okay. So that type of discussion.
Great. Right. So I think that's the practical aspect of it. So this is all about AIMS. How is your experience about JIPMER, and did you find the paper different from AIMS, or was it similar?
JIPMER of late, this session, in fact this is the very first session where the pattern of questions have changed. Previously it was also similar to AIMS, where a lot of questions were asked from specialty and about 20 to 25% from medicine. But this time the ratio has been reversed. It is 60% medicine and 40% specialty. And the medicine based questions were very standard. It's just like during your MD days, the variety of questions you get in medicine section, it's similar questions, right? You will get few questions from cardio, few questions from pulmo, few questions from rheumat, few questions from neuro, standard questions, and then 40 core gastroenterology questions. So the ratio is the pattern is slightly different for JIPMER compared to AIMS.
Right. So JIPMER you felt was not so much patient based. To some extent, they were asking some factual questions also.
Yes, I think this is I think even though during our MD days we had seen that AIMS is more clinically oriented questions, and JIPMER and NEET they follow a similar pattern. So even in JIPMER this time there were a lot of factual and theory based questions, not much of clinical based scenarios.
Okay, so one of the things to understand is this is a pandemic year, so maybe the pattern has slightly got modified, or they must have changed this year, but it's not necessary that they'll follow the same thing next year. Okay, so in general, I think rather than just theory knowledge, it's very important that you have to have handled cases. You should know the flowcharts of the algorithms of how you manage such cases, right? How was your experience about PGI? Because you've done MD from PGI also. How's the gastroenterology? And I think their hepatology is separate and gastro is separate.
Yes. So PGI has a very robust gastro and hepatology rotation. I think I got a total of 5 months during my 2 years, 5 months of exposure in gastroenterology and hepatology. And PGI is one place where a DM hepatology is a separate course in among the institutes. So if you have to, there's one point, if you are very much interested in hepatology, there's one more book called Zakim and Boyer for hepatology, and that is one, if you are very much focused on hepatology, but gastro, Schlesinger and Fortran is more than enough. So coming to my PGI experience, it's as I said, it's one of the best place. So we got rotated in all the specialities, and during my and my thesis was also in liver. It was in hepatology topic. So I developed the interest, and my exposure definitely helped me in cracking few questions. The kind of patients we saw, and that definitely helps in an AIMS paper.
Right. So I think we've covered practically almost everything connected to how to prepare for DM gastro. Any other suggestions? See, basically those who are watching this video should have input about how they should start preparing and what they should do to crack the DM gastro exams.
Yeah.
Did you happen to give the NEET super specialty exam?
NEET I did give, but my preparation was not good enough that time, so I got a 3-digit rank that time.
Right.
But my hepatology.
But how was your experience about the NEET, and how many questions, and how's the ratio?
NEET SS is very standard Harrison based questions. So if you're good in Harrison, Schlesinger is not required for NEET. So if in detail you have to read the gastro section in Harrison, line to line, that's around 120 or 130 pages of Harrison. In detail, everything in the tables, everything in each and every line. Spend good amount of time in gastro and hepatology section of Harrison, and basic MD based preparation. What you have done, the type of theory, the type of preparation you had for an MD theory exam, that type of preparation is good enough for you to crack the 40 questions of medicine part in NEET SS. And so in NEET SS it is 60-40 ratio, 60 specialty questions and 40 medicine questions. So those 40 questions are reasonably easy, and they are easy to crack. As long as you are good during your MD. Harrison 2-3 readings if you have done during your MD preparation, that is enough for you to crack those 40 questions. And in-depth reading of gastro and hepat section in the Harrison is sufficient for NEET.
Okay. So NEET, how many questions totally you said?
100 questions.
And
60
negative marking is there.
1:4.
Okay. The only exam where negative marking is not there is JIPMER.
Even in JIPMER it's 1:4.
I think PGI is the only exam.
PGI medicine section has no negative marking, but specialty section is same as MD, how we used to have before INI CET. It's multiple
choice.
Multiple options.
A by X minus B
yes,
by Y.
sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Same.
Right. So I think we've covered most of the stuff that one needs to know to prepare for DM. As Dr. Saidesh pointed out, it's definitely feasible to get into the top institute like AIMS also, if you prepare in a proper method. Any other thing that you think that the student should know to prepare? Any final inputs from your side?
As I've said, basic knowledge of Schlesinger, one or two readings at least, with a quick revision. Make your own notes. Don't rely on any ready-made notes. Make your own notes. Own notes will definitely help you in revising. And be familiar with the recent updates. The question might just a question might be framed based on one recommendation statement in some guideline. There will be some recommendation statement. The answer will lie in that recommendation statement. So, at least common topics guidelines are important, especially in hepatology, EASL and ASLD guidelines. Go through statistics part well, and go through the recent molecular techniques which are used in diagnostics. For example, now it's a COVID situation, they will definitely ask, there will be some or other place you will have some questions on PCR, RT-PCR, what is nested PCR, and some gene editing type questions. So some knowledge on molecular techniques, molecular diagnostic techniques which are used, and biostats part for your research methodology section, and your knowledge of Schlesinger. I think that is sufficient for to crack a AIMS exam.
So one or two final questions from my side. There is some difference between the ESL guidelines and the American guidelines when it comes to management, particularly screening. How often they should do screening. So how do we handle such questions? And in the exam, do they specify according to ESL or according to American guidelines? Like how do they ask in the question?
So I've not seen any question where they're specific to guidelines. If the question is asked in such controversial things, I think I can't recommend which is better. So the best thing is to leave such questions.
Right. So I think always the dictum is you don't go too much into controversies.
Yes.
The general concept and management is good enough to get you into either MD also, same thing for DM entrance also.
Yes.
Right. So finally, one last question. How should one read medicine during their post-graduation?
Our teaching in PGI was case based. If you're you're posting based. If you're posted in, for example, in neurology, our seniors used to tell to cover the Bickerstaff practical neurology or De Jong's practical neurology, or exam cases like we get movement disorders, we get stroke, we get cerebellum case, then we get polyneuropathy case. So cover that part and then go to the relevant theory part in Harrison, and the remaining like dementia is completely theory. Dementia is not an MD case, but that you can cover during your MD exam. So our approach was, when we are in neurology, we used to cover practical cases in detail. If you have enough time, if you are interested, you can go for De Jong or Bickerstaff is enough to pass an MD exam. And that's some same relative theory part from Harrison you have to cover. Like there's a cerebellum chapter in that is ataxia chapter in Harrison, you have to finish that. There's a neuropathy chapter in Harrison, you have to finish it. So you cover up that portion, and then exclusively theory part like dementia and all that you can cover after your postings or during your MD exam preparation. So if you are oriented with the cases and the theory part in Harrison, I think during your 3 years you will comfortably finish your Harrison, and it is, I guess, is a good approach rather than munging up before seeing the patients.
Right. So I think it's really remarkable having such a busy department like PGI. How did you make time to read, and how many hours were you able to read on an average?
So first year we were not able to read anything, to be frank. It is quite hectic. As a JR1, we did not have interns also, but our academic program is also very robust in PGI. We used to have frequent morning academics. So in PGI we have a trend of finishing the topic which was presented in the morning. So all 6 days a week, barring for Sunday, we have an academic session. So relevant topics, either that PPT presentation what they have done, and or a lecture class done by a faculty, and that relevant theory part in Harrison, I tried my best to cover every day, at least 1 or 2 hours, or at least 1 hour every day, so that I just brush up what was done today. And in the last 1 month or 45 days before an MD exam, you get sufficient time. You get free postings like psychiatry, where you have to just go to an OPD and you're free by 12:30 in the afternoon. So during that time you need to devote more time.
Right. So I think we've covered almost all aspects. How much of Harrison were you able to complete during your MD?
So volume 2 completely, volume 1 specifically onco part, that is hemat part, all relevant hematology topics, and infection parts in PGI and even in India we stress a lot on tropical infections. So tropical infections in detail from Harrison volume 1, and hematology part and critical, and this one in initial, like approach to patient and patient doctor relationship, few questions are asked on that also. So that section I covered, the pharmacology section, the clinical trial section in the very first volume part. So volume 2 completely and selected parts of volume 1, and hematology incomplete, and any infections, tropical infections is the must.
Right.
For him.
Right, I think we've covered almost everything. So thank you so much. It was a great pleasure listening to your approach, and I hope all those who are watching and very keen on preparing for DM Gastro, if you sincerely start the moment once you choose the subject, and if you start sincerely and if you are focused on it, there is no reason why you should be able to crack even the best institutes. So huge congratulations to you.
Thank you,
I hope
sir.
you continue to do well in the future as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been my pleasure to speak to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.